Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Yo, what is going on, YouTube? It's your boy Zions, and it's back at it again with another video. I got something playing in the background, but we got my man G Nation here. We're just gonna be talking about the Giants. He's actually called in from work, so I really appreciate you doing that. I am gonna drop the link for others may call in here in a bit. But if you're a part of Big Blue Crew, I'm gonna drop the link in Twitter already. You guys are more than welcome to call in. But without further ado, we're just gonna be talking about the Giants, man. That being said, I titled it "The State of the Giants" being a thumbnail. The best thing that happened to the Giants this season is that the season is over, and I'm excited to talk about them now because the 2022 Giants has been absolutely horrible. But I know G Nation called him from work, so I'm not gonna hog the mic. I'm gonna let him obviously introduce himself and just basically ask him first of all, what's his thoughts on the whole Wink Martindale situation, because that's just kind of fresh, and it is still kind of fresh. We got some news that just breaked about it, but without further ado, what's up, G Nation, and how's your day going? I'm sorry for that long ass intro.
What's going on, Zion? Nah, look, man. At the end of the day, right? I like Wink Martindale, okay. But if I was the head coach and you was undermining me, or your guys were undermining me, then they got to go, And it's not the end all be all with Wink Martindale being gone. It's not like, he took us to the Super Bowl year one. And let's not forget, this was Dable's second year as a head coach. Mike Kafka's second year as an offensive coordinator. A lot of these guys were very young coaches at new positions. And it was only year two of the rebuild. We happened to be ahead of schedule in year one. We did good. We got to the playoffs, won a playoff game, and maybe got a little bit too happy and started expecting more than we should have, considering we still knew that we had major deficiencies at the O-line play. Still didn't have a true number one wide receiver. Still didn't have a dog edge rusher opposite of Thibodeau. Multiple factors. Didn't have a second running back behind Barkley that can pick up the slack. So multiple things that we knew. Play calling was suspect on Kafka's part. Again, second season as an offensive coordinator. Former pass play designer for Kansas City Chiefs. So, really stepping out of his comfort zone, taking this job to begin with. While I've been very critical of him throughout the season, we have to understand that, again, this was only his second season as an offensive coordinator. He came from a completely different aspect of it as far as just drawing up plays, not calling plays, and figuring out the rhythm and the cadence of the game itself. Everything has a rhythm, right? Your heartbeat, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you sing, the way you rap.
Very true.
Everything has a rhythm and a cadence, right? So when play calling is an art, you have to get your team into a rhythm. You have to get your receiver, your running back, your lineman, your quarterback into a rhythm based on the plays that you call. And that's something that I see with Kafka that he's going to have to work on, his rhythm, his game rhythm, his play calling rhythm. But I'm excited in the sense that we get another chance at a rebuild with the same head coach and the same offense. So whether we draft a quarterback or we run it back with DJ and draft a quarterback and bench him for a year and run it back with DJ, whatever the case may be, it'll still be in the same offense. Whoever we draft or don't draft, we won't be doing the same thing to them that we did to Daniel Jones. So I want to see some continuity. Hopefully we get a good offensive line coach that can coach up some of these highly drafted linemen.
Yes,
okay, because I still believe in these linemen. I just think that they haven't been coached up. I believe Bobby Johnson did a horrible job coaching these guys, and I'm ready to see what some new coaching does with some of these guys.
Absolutely. That was a lot, and I appreciate that. That was a few detailed. Very full, detail oriented. And if you guys want to catch more, you guys make believe you guys sub up to G Nation. One thing you mentioned too is Kafka. I want to get into Kafka, but I want to also give my thoughts on Wink Martindale. And I think you hit it right on the nail. we all respect you. We all respected you as a defensive coordinator. I respect you at least as one of the better defensive coordinators in the league. I really wanted you as the head coach before Brian Dable was circulated. Back in
I
before
told
we
everybody he
hired.
was going to be the coach before we even hired him. You remember? Go
Yeah,
back and look at my videos.
I do remember that. And I really did respect him. The thing is with that, it's like you said it perfectly. You know, you can't undermine the head coach. The head coach needs to build a team. Yes, he fired your friend, but at the end of the day, look at your friend and what he done with your job. Yes, we had other position coaches that's on roster, and maybe the their their positions ain't really the best. But if you look at how the outside linebackers improved, it wasn't a night or day difference. It wasn't like Brian Dable's the head coach, and at the end of the day, whatever he says goes. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna blow up and if you're gonna do all this unnecessarily things that supposed happen, then you kind of put yourself in a sketchy situation. A lot of fans are saying that Martindale can maybe go to a competitor, maybe the Eagles or maybe Washington. But in all honesty, the Giants kind of hold all the cords here because the last time I checked in the rumors, he walked out of the building and took a flight home. So that being said, we still have him under contract and we can actually hold him under contract the whole season for he can sit out. It's because unless another team wants him and we approve on it, he's still
Oh
on
no, they officially parted ways yesterday.
So they officially parted ways yesterday? Okay, so it is confirmed. Again, sorry for not really researching back into that news. So it's officially confirmed that he did part ways. Thank you for checking that. What's up, Raphael? Thank you for joining us. And then once again, guys, I'm a member of the Big Blue Crew, but then also the host today is Hardcore Sports. I'm another proud member of Hardcore Sports, always hosting the show. Thank you guys so much for that. That being said, guys, let's move into Mike Kafka because I believe he's still
moving into no man.
We're gonna move now. We're gonna move segments. We're gonna move segments. I love that. So a lot of people are saying, and including Lou, that he's gonna be here, and I think he will be here. But then there's also things popping up like this. So Mike Kafka now has a head coaching opportunity for the Titans. Interview. So I want to get your thoughts on that. Do you think any
he ain't gonna get that damn job? He ain't gonna get that job.
I love that.
They've seen the horrible play calling, the questionable play calling that he did. They're not about to get that man. Listen, you can't go from offensive pass play design to OC to head coach in 2 damn seasons, bro. Especially with a losing record. That's just unheard of. If they do that, they're even worse franchise than I thought they were.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think you fire a coach like Mike Vrabel. In my honestly, a great head coach should have had another chance. He didn't really get the time to develop his young quarterback. But that's my opinion. You don't go from a coach like Mike Vrabel to a coach like Mike Kafka. That does not work. Awesome. Another thing I wanted to bring up too is. Well, this is a non-scripted show, guys, but it is scripted with segments that I did want to ask the host that showed up, and I appreciate Lou for showing up. So make sure you sub up to Lou, and I'm also gonna give my opinions as well. I know it's been a while since I talked about the Giants on this show, but this is YouTube, and
they can't sub up to me if they don't know my channel. It's G Nation Inside Sports. G Nation Inside Sports.
Absolutely. And we got that down in the chat too. So you guys just click on the chat and then you guys can get it right there. I know I started off calling Call of Duty videos and then I leered off to Giants videos and I stopped calling Giants videos and backed on Call of Duty videos. And half my community is Call of Duty fans and half my community is football fans. So what I'm trying to do, guys, is I'm gonna release more content going forward on both, and you can expect more Giants contact. And this is just content. Let me just slow it down. This is just a little bit of a back 2024 live stream, but you can expect my mini documentaries and a lot of great things got planned with the Big Blue Crew. But let's move into free agency, Lou. We have Giants like Xavier McKinley planning on testing the free agency market. Is there any Giants here that you expect not to be here? Or is there any Giants in free agency that you you may wanna bring in. I can pull up a free agent list. We don't really have to get into
There's
free agents that we have to pull in. We can just market free
there's
agents
quite
for
a
the
few
Giants right now.
there's quite a few free agents that I'm expecting to be gone.
Yeah, there you go.
A
That's what
lot
I
of the
want to talk about.
a lot of the guys that we signed for like a year or two, their year is up, their second year is up. A lot of them guys will be gone. Paris Campbell, uh, what's the other guy? Boogie Basham probably be gone. Uh,
Got it right here. We'll pull
there's
up the
quite a
depth
few.
chart.
There's quite a few
Got a
guys.
few, yes.
There's quite a few guys that I'm pretty sure will not be here. Here in the next couple weeks.
What's your thoughts on Xavier McKinley? As a player and like yeah, he already said he wants to test the free agents. Are you sad or would you want him back?
No, listen, I don't want anybody on this team that doesn't want to be on this team.
I love that.
Because if it feels like work, you're not going to give it your all. If
That
you
is
want to
true.
be here, it's not going to feel like work to you. It's going to feel like you're building something with your brothers trying to achieve a goal. That's much different than I got to go to work. So I would rather want the guys here to want to be here. Because if you want to be somewhere else, then your head is somewhere else. And if your head is somewhere else, your head ain't in the game.
That's absolutely facts, and it comes down to my point of these offensive linemen, like
And he hasn't been consistent anyway. So if he wants to test free agency, go ahead. Because he probably ain't going to get what he thinks he is. Then he'll have to come back and take a pay cut if we even take him back. So, yeah, go test the free agency.
That is true. I mean, like when you think about Xavier McKinley, to touch on him too, it's like I respect him. I believe he is the bottom half of the top 10 safeties in the league. But when you want money, like you're playing like at a Hufunga level, at a Macomb Fitzpatrick level. I get it. Both of them got hurt this season. But if you look at the safeties, some of the best safeties in the league, even the Bates of the world. You know what I'm saying? I think of Hufunga. I'm thinking of Fitzpatrick. I'm not thinking of Xavier McKinley. Taking my unbiased approach on it, he is a good safety, and he
There's
can
no
do a
L
lot.
in it. It's McKinney.
McKinney. Yeah, he's a good safety, and there's a market for him, but I don't think the market is the Fitzpatrick money because he hasn't shown that kind of skill level, in my opinion. Fitzpatrick, I believe, is still 25 and is one of the premier safeties in the league. Hufunga for the San Francisco 49ers. He's super young, one of the premier safeties in the league. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you want that kind of money, I understand that you are a leader on this team, and some of that bag is going for the offseason and the leadership. But at the end of the day, you get paid to play on Sundays, and at the end of the day, there's a lot of other things we can do with that money. I do want to bring up Raphael. One thing I do want to touch on before I let Raphael say a few things is our offensive line. What's up, Raphael? Is talking. Lou made a good point. Lou made an excellent point about getting people in here that want to play. If Xavier McKinley does not want to play here, okay, goodbye. You know what I'm saying? Go test the market. You know what I'm saying?
Because let's not forget, if somebody else picks him up, we get compensation picks for him anyway.
Absolutely.
So go ahead. If you want to go somewhere and somebody signs you, we'll take them compensatory picks and we'll apply them next year to our draft because that's when they'll come. They won't come this year. They'll come next year. And we'll use those to continue to build our team. The one thing I do like about Joe Schoen is that he's very methodical. He's very planned out, very thorough, and thinks things through down to the letter. So he has a contingency plan, and he has a contingency plan for the contingency plan. So when you're coming into things that well prepared, I'm more confident in a guy like that than a guy who's like, oh, well, they took this guy, trade and get this guy. Like, that's more panic shit. I want somebody who can think through the situation at hand and figure out the best play to make, not get the best name. No, don't go for the name. What is best for the team? And Joe Shane seems like he's that type of guy. Like he's going to stay level-headed. He's going to keep the emotions out of the negotiation process. And I'll admit that a lot of Giants fans, sometimes we do hold on to guys a little more than we should because of an emotional attachment or sentimental feeling. Because the Giants have had very many winning seasons. So the seasons that we had that were winning were memorable and they were sentimental to us in a way. And a lot of guys have a hard time with letting go of that. But sometimes when these guys want more money than they're worth, it's time to let them go. And Joe Shane seems to have a pretty good handle on that. So I'm excited, and I think we're going to start moving in the right direction.
I honestly think so too. And that's what I want to touch on. And you hit it on the nail. Is we have teams around the NFL, so much teams, that they take a free agent that they paid less than $8 million, or they take a free agent, a draftee that they drafted in the 4th and the 5th round, and then they coach them up to start on Sundays, and they're blocking for some of these premier quarterbacks in the NFL. And then you go to the Giants, and then it's like all this money and all this wasted draft stock on these premier, what seems to be premier pass rushers, right? You got a kid that goes to AMG, that goes to Alabama, and then can't you tell me he can't block on Sundays? Like, help me understand that. I know there's a lot of things that we can do. We can move him inside. We can do a lot of things. But at the end of the day, like, it comes down to offensive linemen and players that really want to play the position. It's one thing to think you want to play it, but you have to truly love it. You have to truly love putting your hand in the dirt. And that's one of the most honorable and the most humblest, and because you're not flashy, you don't get all the touchdowns, you don't get all the grammar, you don't get all the red carpets, you know what I'm saying? But as a fan, I respect the hell out of offensive linemen for what they do and what they can accomplish as a team if they have an offensive lineman in front of them. And we have to get players that really love the position, that really wants to play the position, and get a coach that really can coach them up. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all we want. I don't care if they.
Zion said he was looking for some players that love the position. Pause.
Yeah, I love it. But players that want to play football. But that being said, we got Raphael. I'm gonna let him say a few words. Let's get it. What's up, Raphael? Welcome to the show.
What's up, Raphael?
Salute to everybody else in the chat and the panel. For that case, the New York Giants, I mean, they just spent the most draft capital in online in the last decade. I mean, they cannot waste another first-round pick and alignment. Other teams don't have lines full of first-rounders, and they have success. At some point, scouting and coaching has to be addressed. I mean, spending like another topic and another tackle who's not going to his primary position is just insane. Get a new coach, draft solid depth, and let the new coach cook. I mean, and one of the press conference that stood out to me, because Shaw insisted to mention how Jones's contract is currently constructed, they can basically let him go after next season. But right now, just there's a circumstance. I don't know if it get a opinion anymore since we dropped to 6. I mean, now that it goes to the worker camp right here, it just decided to create everything. I mean, I don't think it's fair to showbone the ball when people say they only had a season or two left to show the significant on-field results. They just left the such bad situation to the end the real rebuilding is only starting right now. I mean, fans to quick decide. But in another case of McKinney, I mean, look at Absolution bringing back. I mean, independent who hires out as a defensive coach, defensively the most going back to the two high seams, which McKinney has it his best, and I'm not convinced that Pinnock or Belton will be able to replace him. I think everywhere between 2 million and 14 million is fair. For example, Jesse Bates is signing for 60 million last offseason. It's better than McKinney, but safety is also a weird position where the salaries are kind of all over the place. Also, if we let the Odroy walk, which is probably happening, I think they're gonna have like extremely young secondary and have an established veteran like McKinney could go a long way.
Deception in the house. What's up, my man? What is going on? Keep on going, Raphael. If you're done, just let me know.
Hey, Deception.
That being said,
Yeah, but there's another thing that about for the Giants. I mean, they could
¿Qué
happen
pasa,
like
mi hermano?
this.
¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo está, Rafael?
I would say this because between Neil and GMC are both
I said,
service
¿cómo
fine.
está, Rafael, coño?
You should answer.
Me ha hecho muy bien. Estoy bien, estoy bien, estoy bien.
All right.
Okay. All right, all right.
I didn't even know what he said. All I knew is he greeted you, and I think he did. So I'm like, you should answer him.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. But also there's a one more thing. I mean, their struggle to combine with this team tonally and ability to develop any other line other than Thomas in the case. I mean, it starts with the coaching. Starts with the coaching, and then they gotta develop a solid deep chart. I mean, that's the way to say it.
I love it. I do want to get into a few things too as well. Raphael made a good point about the coaching, right?
Real
Getting a
quick,
good coaching here. Go ahead, G Nation.
I would like to steal your defensive coordinator, sir. I want Antonio Pierce over here, Rafael.
That's a perfect segment because that's exactly what we was probably gonna get into. So let's present our screen. And that being said, Raphael made a good point. He's like getting good coaching in here, right? So it all starts with the guys up front. It all starts with the O line, I believe. So we have to get our O line coach in here. I don't even care if he comes from college. He better just know how to coach the position and coach these guys up. Another big thing that now we need to fix is getting a guy in here that can replace Wink Martindale. Now, Wink Martindale is one of the best coaches in the defensive
On
realm
the
in
defensive
the
side of the
NFL.
ball. Yeah.
Yes. That being said, I just pulled up a fast list. You can Google it if you guys want to follow along, but you guys don't need to because I have it on screen, so you can stay here, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Raphael and subscribe to G Nation as well. Links right down below. That being said, we're going to go down this list, and G Nation actually brought up the first candidate that I think we will all respect and we will all kind of want. We'll all kind of want if he doesn't as a head coach in the NFL. Pause. That's right. We want him as a coach, as a defensive coordinator. That being said, if Antonio Pierce doesn't get the job in Oakland, well, not in Oakland, they're in Las Vegas now. If he doesn't get the Las Vegas Raiders head coaching job, which I think he's pretty I would say 7 out of 10 to get. Anything can happen.
They're gonna try to get Harbaugh. They're gonna try to get Harbaugh.
They could try to get Harbaugh. That is true. And I know he's an advisor now for the Seahawks, but San Diego Chargers, Las Vegas Raiders, if they call Pete Carroll, I mean, like, Pete Carroll's an elite head coach. If I was them, I would. That being said, though,
he's the general manager. He got promoted to general manager over there.
He got promoted to the advisor, the senior vice president, and shit like that. But at the end of the day, if you watch, you watch his press conference, the guy still wants to coach. I think if the Chargers was to call him, he'll go. Like, he wants to be with the Seahawks, but I truly think he really wants to coach. The guy's 71. Like, please go advise. Please go spend time with the family. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see what happens. He's probably going to remain on the Seahawks, and Lou is probably right. But if I was Los Angeles,
and listen, if you retire, that's what you ain't got shit to do. The guys who live longer, the guys who stay active and keep a purpose.
But he can go home on Sundays. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't really have to. He can be there. He'll be there. But you get the point. It's not like head coaching where he has to be at the facility and put in all those long hours. But moving on to Antonio Pierce, I'm gonna let you have the mic, G Nation, because I think both me and you want him. I think he'll make a good fit, and you brought him up. So let's get him on the team as our defensive coordinator. Let's get it. What's your thoughts on him?
I think he's a proven leader of men. He's a giant. He's won the Super Bowl here. He has history here. He has that much needed disciplinarian side of him, that Tom Coughlin element that made us champions once before. And people could say, "Oh, we don't like the Giants way or this and that," but bringing Antonio Pierce in here is definitely a Giants way move. Once a giant, always a giant. He has that grit. He has that fight, that heart, that we're not going to lay down and give up. We're going to fight every damn inch or every yard of this field. And that's what this team needs in every aspect on all three phases. So I think he would be a great fit. and you would have your guy if it doesn't work out with Dable
Absolutely. He's
for that
obviously
position.
shown his ability to lead man. He's shown his ability. I always love ex players because of the fact that they've been there, they've done that. You know, it's kind of like they went through the experience. So it's like I'm gonna listen to you because you went through that experience and you're not just talking out of your ass. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I love about ex players. And that's why you have your Dan Campbells of the world in the playoffs right now. And I obviously think Mike Verbal will rebound really good. I don't know what the Titans were thinking, and see what happens. But sometimes you just outplay each other. But I think he'll rebound, and that's another one with Antonio Pierce. I do want to ask Raphael what his thoughts on Antonio Pierce, being that he is a Raiders fan, but also too. This is a little bit for the chat. If you guys want to learn a little bit about him, where he kind of been, little bit on the screen for you guys can read along while we talk about him. But that being said, Raphael, as a Raiders fan, what's your thoughts of Antonio Pierce
Uh-huh.
either becoming your head coach or becoming the Giants defensive coordinator? What do you want? And if he doesn't become your head coach, what do you think about him becoming the defensive coordinator for the Giants?
Because after the whole situation between Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, I mean, the experiment doing for the Patriot way isn't working, but we just found that Antonio Pierce and Jim Kelly, they just made like a great ways. And the other part of the one, because during that season for the 2023-24 season for Las Vegas Raiders, when Antonio Pierce came here, it was very he's just like a leader of men. He show up with a lot of discipline. He shows up with aggressive. And I know he just won a Super Bowl with the New York Giants, but I guarantee if Las Vegas doesn't sign with Antonio Pierce, I mean, that's a great choice to make it to the Giants. I mean, he has had a great connection with discipline. Also, had the great connections with all the defensive coordinators. I mean, during the time, because I know that Las Vegas Raiders just won against New York Giants because they just brought Antonio Pierce to the first game. I mean, they could have happened like this one because if the team Giants needs more discipline and needs more like aggression, more passionate about playing football, I mean, I guarantee that Antonio Pierce could be like that guy because right now our decision it depends for a lot of coaches. So we had to decide between Jim Harbaugh or Antonio Pierce is going to stay. I mean, that's a lot of decisions could be for the head coach. But I think that if the Raiders could have let to sign to Jim Harbaugh, I mean, that's very passionate. But I think this is his whole experience of the college football. It became like very superior. Antonio Pierce is 49 and Jim Harbaugh is 60. I mean, that would become like a very experienced coach because we're gonna let all these young talented experience. I mean, coaching is very different. But at the same time, when I just watching between of Michigan versus Washington, I just realized that the defense can win championship. And I mean, the whole time because I just realized that it's gonna happen like this one. If Antonio Pierce doesn't sign up with the Raiders, I mean, that could be a better fit for the Giants as defensive coordinator because they know exactly how gonna play for the passionate football and of course how to be aggressive, how to be play with swagger. I mean everything, and of course the discipline. He just maintained the whole of discipline for the locker room, but he was for the Raiders. I mean, that could happen.
I'll tell you what, if that happens, we will be going back to a 4-3 defense, and we will be drafting an edge rusher.
Uh huh. Yep.
What's what's up, Mets and Mets? Meet the Mets. My bad. I really want Antonio Pierce, but I doubt the Raiders let him go. That is true. And Raphael brought up a good point. The Raiders will probably let him go if someone like Jim Harbaugh wants to coach, because I
Yeah,
think if your
they want
status
a
like Jim
proven head
Harbaugh,
coach. They want to win.
you can get him. Nicely said, Raphael. That being said, though, I'm
I'm
just
gonna
gonna
get back
give
to
up.
work, fellas.
Uh
Go do your thing. I appreciate that, G Nation, and thank you so much for stopping by. Make
You
sure you
know,
guys go
brother.
sub up to G Nation. I'm gonna let you have the floor one final time. Where can these people find you?
G Nation Inside Sports on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram.
Let's get it. Sub up, guys. It's right there. link down below in the comments. Let's get it. Thank you so much for coming on.
See you in February.
All right, have a good one.
Let's get
Saludos.
it. Bless up, my man.
Saludos.
Let's get it. That being said, I'm gonna run down these head coaches, not head coaches, I'm sorry, defensive coordinators that could
Yeah.
become defensive coordinators for the Giants. I'm just gonna give a fast take on them. Some's gonna be really fast, like one word. Some's gonna be a little bit longer. I am gonna let Raphael have the floor too. Thank you so much, Raphael, for joining me today. Please don't let me take
Yes.
up all of your time. And thank you so much again. Leslie Frazier. That's another one that a couple of years ago I really wanted as a head coach for the Giants. This is before that 15-second comeback. After that 15-second comeback against the Kansas City Chiefs, that's what I'm talking about. It kind of put a bad taste in my mind. I think he's still a respectable defensive coordinator, and he could be a great head coach again because he did head coach for the Vikings one of these days. But well, he head coached for the Vikings, and he could be a head coach one of these days for another team. What I meant to say, but I truly believe that he did have a year off, but I kind of don't really want him just because I do want that younger generation of football. He is still respected, highly respected around the league, but I do kind of feel like we're in this phase of the NFL where it's learning and it's growing, and it's forever learning and growing, but it's becoming more of a hybrid defense, and he's been around for a long time, so teams kind of know what he's going to present on defense. If he didn't take the year off to really kind of change a few things up, I don't think I would want him personally because of the fact that teams are gonna know what he's doing. He's been around for a long time, and you don't really break bad habits in 1 year. You know what I'm saying? Even if that year was off. Look at Sean Payton. He took a year off, and he came back to a bit choppy. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, his team ain't the strongest, but at the end of the day, his team is a roster able to compete. You know what I'm saying? And he took a little bit of time getting adjusted. Now watch Sean Payton in year 2 as a head coach. I think the Broncos are gonna be pretty good. You know what I'm saying? But I'm back to Leslie Frazier as a defensive coordinator. I really don't want him. That was a long one,
Also,
and that's
there's one
probably
thing
gonna be the
about for
longest. But
Leslie
I'm gonna let
Frazier.
Raphael go. I'm gonna let you
Yeah.
go on everyone, Raphael. Go right ahead.
Okay, so there is a thing about for Leslie Frazier because remember the time he was throwing shade at the Bills, but he honestly been
Mhm.
secretly behind the Ravens' success or something. He's not getting like a offensive coordinator job. I mean, that guy choked 30 seconds, and while in itself might be not a career killer, since one of the against for the future top 10 all quarterback and coach, the Bill defense has pretty known since once Bonds Miller went down for last season. Every game against Khaled Thompson Dolphins, it became like offensive shootout. I mean, no franchises go anywhere near that guy. You can take a gap year in the NFL. Also, that defense has looked great with that year, but I'm not really sure how this plays in Buffalo Steel. I mean, that guy has chances repeatedly decided to quit for a year because he just saw the writing on the ball. Now he wants to come back as the head coach. I mean, he just checked to out. I don't know because he just ignored for a minute because that defense has been supposedly weathered him without in charge. I mean, Leslie Fraser, I mean, they absolutely zero shot. I mean, he had a two shot 2 years ago, and that was his last opportunity. I mean, he really missed their striking while the iron was hit a few years ago. I mean, the trend is younger offensive minds. Which we had coaches, especially defensive minded ones, because they're not getting like legit looks at this point. I mean, pretty sure McDermott will be only defensive minded to play us if we're going to make it. I mean, it's not going to happen between Lester Frazier. I mean, that guy is technically under contract with the Bills, but it would be like a huge no because not sure how it all works with the coach compared to players. But I wonder if he has the help of the coaches with the game for it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Raphael. You know what I'm saying? As a defensive coordinator, I think he'll be good, but I just don't want him as our defensive coordinator. And I get that he has ties to Brian Dable, but like you said it perfectly. I said 15 seconds. You said 30 seconds is one of those seconds where you let a team like the Kansas City Chiefs come back. And I get it, it's the Kansas City Chiefs, but come on, bro, you had the defense to at least do something else. You know what I'm saying? Um, another candidate, but I would really love, because I do really believe that he is one of the better defensive back coaches. I'm gonna go with Jerome Henderson. I would really like him along with Antonio Pierce. I'm kind of at the same level of liking, whether it be Jerome, whether it be Antonio. I am kind of at the same level of liking. I always I really started to get to know this guy and the culture and his attitude and the way he coaches over the past year or so. And I do believe that we do have a really good top five defensive back coaches in the NFL. And if you look at our defensive backs, we hasn't really had the top 10 defensive backs. The Giants hasn't really been known for defensive backs for a while. You know what I'm saying? And that being said, I think what he has done to the position is absolutely amazing. And I think the players buy into him. I think the players will buy into him defensively. The players up front, the front seven respects him and will respect him. And that being said, any thoughts on Jamon Henderson? That's probably the longest one I'm gonna take as well. And the rest, we're just gonna kind of glance over a bit, maybe
Yeah.
give a few takes. But what's your take on Jamon Henderson as defensive coordinator for the Giants?
I mean, that was very interesting about because it's gonna happen like this one, but Jerome Henderson, I mean, that's a good example about it. I mean, he was like a defensive back at a coach. I mean, they just happened to like at a great time, but I just think that that was I really glad to go for it. I mean, assuming they have how good or bad they are their responsibilities, I mean that would be interesting about it. I mean, I would like to see like Henderson getting a shot because he knows everything about for the football lane. He just made like a great experience. I mean, they just had a great boss. I mean, that could have happened because if only had a dumb producer like John Townley because they made for the Giants had a deep root problems with the scouting department because they were not allowing to certain people to be part of the player acquisition draft decisions. I mean, also the coaching hires of the position group that are so bad to the point it needs start hiring players with only former NFL experience. I mean, for example, that guy right here, Jerome Henderson, this weekend, all that agree to the better positions. And he was like a former NFL player. I mean, they're the part because they supposed to manage with the scouts. I mean, it constantly changes. It really helped because it was like the biggest positive the staff did last year. But somehow Jerome Henderson, it could be like a great fit for the Giants. I mean, it happens because if Antonio Pierce had to go to stay for Las Vegas or to go to stay for the Giants, I mean, Jordan Henderson has a long experience and they know how to go to fit in the great system for the quarterback and of course for the defense going out for 4-3 or 3-4. I mean, that could happen.
Absolutely. That was well said, Raphael. Matt Patricia, I'm just gonna glance over him. I really don't want him. I do respect him as a defensive coordinator, but I get it. Does have ties with Ryan Dable. I believe he was a head coach for the Lions for that bit. But that being said, I really don't want him. He could be a good fit, but me, I'm just gonna pass over him. Do you have anything to say about Matt?
I
I
mean,
take that as
Matt,
a
that
go
was
ahead.
okay. So the
No,
reason I
no,
said
please
about
go
the
ahead.
name because I mean you just got Matt Patricia. I mean,
Mhm.
consistently, this is. I think this is not a good fit. It's not a good fit for anything. I mean, Matt Patricia, it must be like a, I don't know. He doesn't have like a great sense to everything. I mean, every just took it about it. I mean, he calls it like this content. I mean, remember he deposited this content amounts for the Giants. I mean, it doesn't have like a great factor on it. I mean, Matt Patricia had took over for the Eagles defense, and I don't think they're gonna trap him. I don't think they're gonna track him, but they don't have like their passion in it. Because if they're gonna choose Matt Patricia, the franchise quarterback, they're probably lots of less flexibility and freedom and chaos. I mean, they're gonna happen. They're gonna happen. But apparently, if it comes to it, I mean, because for example, the Patriots were without Butler, just also lost John Jones in the early playoffs and Patrick John mid game. But I mean, Patricia is a terrible, abysmal offensive coordinator, and for the son of it, he's just like a forget about my language. I'm sorry. But Matt Patricia, he's just like a, pardon me, an asshole. But he was like the overachiever, the glory patches fan, the squad as special teamers. I mean, he doesn't like very good. As far as the go for nowhere, I mean, they have the redemption arc. He doesn't have it because the Blake Calling is the most like absolutely insane. But man, Patricia doesn't have like a good Play Collins, but he had to forget it about this team. But here's another example. Eric Rowe having the course where the Jim Robinson played almost the whole game. They had no sacks and ended the game with Rowe, but also the secondary could get in pressure that we're allowing for like 7 rushing. But he has been like a terrible coaching. Has a terrible coach. I mean, to be honest, it wasn't like a real improvement, but they had a good tackle, which is the main issue on it. But the only thing about it is Patricia, it really sucks at all, including this tackling play calling.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. I like that. I like that. I wouldn't want Matt
Yeah.
as well. Sean Diassi, I'm gonna pass over as well. I mean, I'm not even gonna take my time to get my thoughts on him. Go right ahead, Raphael, if you have anything to say about Sean Diassi.
Sean Diaso. That's a good name on it. I mean, oof, that's a look at
He's
the good
the
heart of the
defensive coordinator
point
for the
about it. But I
Eagles.
mean, Sean
I
Diesel, I
wouldn't
mean,
want him.
it's yeah, but I don't think it's gonna happen like it at this one for anything. But he doesn't like it at the between it this kind of like this. But I don't think it's gonna like it at the good point. But between Matt Patricia and Sean Diesel doesn't have like a very good passion. But he
Yeah,
doesn't like it a
I
good point about it. So, I
yeah, I
mean,
would say like this list.
the coaching style. I mean, he doesn't have the same.
Yeah, I would say this list, given
Huh?
that this was just released by like Fox Sports Chat, so like these are just the 9 top. I wouldn't. I would just be like, I would take 9 top out of it because these are just Fox's sports opinion. So these are not the 9 top candidates. So when you really think about it, and then go down this list, now that I'm looking at it for the first time, I got Antonio Pierce that I would like. We got Jamon Henderson that I would like. You look at these other candidates that Fox is putting up here, and then you get to Patrick Graham. That's someone we could talk about. Um, but you know, I kind of let's just talk about Patrick Graham for a second. No, his name came up on Unpopular Opinion Sports. Shout out to Unpopular Opinion. Um, Another Big Blue crew member. That being said, though, before Martindale was hired, Patrick Graham was a defensive coordinator, and he did leave to become Oakland Raiders defensive coordinator. And guess what? We got an Oakland Raiders fan on the show. Me personally, I wouldn't mind it. You know what I'm saying? Um, at the end of the day, Joe Shane actually wanted him. Not Joe Shane, sorry. Brian Dable actually wanted him to stay. But eventually, he had an opportunity to go to Las Vegas and he chose that. Now, if the opportunity presented to come back, now that it has, and he wants to come back, that's totally on him. I'm open for it. The players respected him. The players wanna play for him. The head coach respects him. The head coach wants to coach with him. And I just think that'd be a great fit for us. And we don't have to worry about getting some new guy in here that's going to have to change the roster and move some players around. I think we can get him back in here. He is now more experienced than he was because every day you learn, and now he's more experienced. And that being said, he can come back and kind of be a bigger help to this team than he was before because now he's more experienced, but also to like the players respect him, and that's the biggest thing. I want a coach in here that the players can actually respect. So that being said, Patrick Graham, I don't mind. I would absolutely love if Jerome Henderson, if Antonio Pierce doesn't come through, maybe Patrick Graham. And this is another good listing from Fox Sports. As soon as was about to bash the list,
Mhm.
they pull up a name like Patrick Graham. So I'm gonna give Raphael the floor. Go ahead, Raphael. What's your thoughts on Patrick Graham? Being that he was your defensive coordinator for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, of course. He was like a defensive coordinator for us, for the Raiders. I mean, there's one thing about it. Team can block lateral moves. I mean, obviously there was like a new head coach or new head coach we have a choice of the coordinator. Until after the decision, if the team starts a lot of lateral moves, it will mean like changes are coming to happen, like the coaching staff or choosing like a direction. I mean, the guy had to go for it. I mean, we just have a Patrick Graham and to go for it. I mean, I understand that. I understand that. But remember, it has to go for the 2022 season for the Giants. I mean, defensively, I mean, Patrick Graham has gone for like a very important. I mean, they only had to go for the defense. I mean, the offense, to put the defense at all the best spots. I mean, there was like the several games after the defense hold him on for most game for anything. I mean, they just have like a great defense, everything. I mean, they can have it like even they have like a great defense and have to go for the play callings. I mean, it's not about the problem. It's not about the problem on it. But if they have to go to the interview on it, I mean, they have to step for the risk right here. I mean, they're gonna happen. They're gonna happen like because they're gonna the break of mentality for good or better frustrating. I mean, grand band don't break mentality could be very frustrating, but I ready to say that if they don't have like the job for the Las Vegas Raiders, I mean between Patrick Graham or Antonio Pierce, I mean, the good habit of the better fit. I mean, there's one of the options to go for the defense and keep balance, also being disciplined and could work it out for the defense for between 3 and 4. It also can black for the zones to run and pass, all the things like that. I mean, that could happen. And also, I just really call for the Patrick Graham, but also I will just say this. Because the coaching defense, I mean, they really improve it. I mean, during the time when it's gone for the Raiders between Josh McDaniels and Deb Sealer, I mean, the experimenting doesn't really work out. But I will give it like a very credit to Patrick Graham to get an offer and improve about the defense. But I think it's like the better choice if they're going to come back to the Giants. I mean, they're going to get happen because if they can get in the work with the defense 4-3, also to get involved with the zone, the pass, the rush, also for the red zone, that could happen. That could happen a lot.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you holding that down while I went to go grab some
Yeah,
water. I missed
exactly.
the second half of your
Hmm.
take, but thank you
Yeah.
so much. Chat, make sure you go and subscribe to Raphael, always holding it down, and don't be assured we have something in the works that is gonna probably launch in February, guys. And what is it, Raphael? Yeah, I'll let you explain it.
All right, so I'm gonna do some great news about it because during the next month of February, we're gonna do a mission martial arts show so we can talk about what's important for the UFC. Also, we just break it down for the preview for the fight nights, also for the pay-per-views, also interviews, the hottest topics, controversial debates. I mean, all those news in the one mission martial arts podcast in one place, but it's not gonna be just only me, Raphael Chesson, but also we had the greatest of all time, which is the creator of Let's Get It, Zion Center, because he knows
Whoa.
everything about UFC.
I don't need
Also, I
that
just know
much
about the
credit.
UFC, but um, we just made like a great dynamic duo and can't wait to see it because stay tuned, folks, because it's gonna be like really explosive with all these mission martial arts for the fans right there, because this is gonna be huge.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be awesome. New show coming in February. Thank you so much for Raphael. I didn't need all that praise, but I appreciate it. Coming in February, we're gonna break down all the latest mixed martial arts action. That being said,
Yeah.
another name that I kind of glanced over, Chris Richard. I think he is. I don't really know that much about him, honestly, guys. So I'm gonna probably do my research about him. I know he is, like it says right here, a rising star in the league. He's been with the Saints for about a year now, a couple of years as the co-defensive coordinator. But as far as the other names on this list, I have to be honest with you guys. I don't really know that much about them, so I'm gonna do my research. And probably get you guys my videos about them dropping later. I am gonna, like I said, I'm gonna do mini documentaries and stuff like that based on this team because I absolutely love this team. And no matter what happens, this team will always be my team and also maybe another other NFL teams if I do have the time, but mainly this offseason, be focusing on the Giants, on the moves, on the free agency, on the draft, getting into the draft. Um, what I do want to say is we do pick at 6. That is final. That has been confirmed, and I am gonna make videos on this when it comes out closer to the draft. Now we're still in the middle of the damn playoffs. Still not even the middle. The playoffs just started. Predictions. You guys are probably gonna get a video from me tomorrow about predictions about these playoff games. Then we get premium takes at 6 o'clock Western. Why did I say Western? 6 o'clock West,
Wow.
9 o'clock East. That being said, I do want to take the time to talk about the draft right now because I know we're gonna
Yeah.
skip over free agency real fast, and we're gonna make more videos about this later. But let's just glance over real fast. Me
Yeah.
personally, I think it's time to move on, and get another quarterback in here. Now we can't basically trade Daniel Jones away. He's basically still going to be on roster next year. I believe they respect him enough, and I honestly respect him enough to give him a shot in training camp and let him compete for the starting job. But at 6, we find ourselves in a scenario where there is going to be great offensive linemen on the clock, and some of these top level tier 1 quarterbacks would be taken. There is still going to be your tier 1 type, like if Caleb Williams was ranked a 9.8, and Drake was ranked a 9.8. You got Penix out there ranking a 9.5. You got Bo Nix ranking up there a 9.3, or wherever the circus gets a hold of them, and the underwear Olympics and all of that stuff happens, and you can really see these guys compete. We got Jaden Daniels out here, Heisman Trophy winner. We also got JJ McCourtney, national championship winner. So that being said, we have a lot of quarterbacks, and there's a lot that I didn't mention. We have a lot of quarterbacks that is going to be available at that position. Some would say trade back. Some would say that's a reach. But I would look for it right now. If I had to put money on it, I say we get a quarterback. Now, what quarterback? There's a lot. There's a lot to choose from. At 6, there's a position that you have to go to. Personally, it has to be a move that is gonna set up the rest of the culture, the a famous general manager once said, a Hall of Fame type player. We can't bust. Okay, we've been busting for too long. Like, our players don't work out at high picks. We've been picking in the top 15 forever. We had one pick out of the top 15. Congratulations. We had a couple of picks that we traded for, like 17th pick and stuff like that. Congratulations. But we've been picking a lot, okay, in the top 10, and we can't mess this up. And we have an opportunity to really get the quarterback of the future. You know what I'm saying? And I think that might be someone like Bo Nix. That might be someone like Michael Penix. That, me personally, I don't say is a reach for. I say when the underworld Olympics gets a hold of them and the circus gets a hold of them, that's someone's that's gonna be high up. Someone like Jaden Daniels is gonna bounce. His name's gonna bounce him up. Some people's gonna be like, Jaden Daniels that high? You know, at the end of the day, there's gonna be a lot of moves we can make. There's some offensive linemen that certainly fit that rank of 6. Certainly. But we went that route, and I don't think we should go that route. I'm going to get into this more. I'm going to stop talking because I've been talking a lot. I'm going to give the mic over to Raphael to make his points on the 6th pick
Yes.
for the New York Giants. What you think? What you think the Giants should do?
Oh, I mean, if they're gonna draft for the quarterback right here, I mean, the most exactly how did they go for the draft the quarterback? I mean, they could have happened in so many times because if they're gonna need to draft something, draft a quarterback, which is the most safety position ever. I mean, if we got some of the importance that are right here, I mean, they just got a one thing because they just got Tommy DeVito. I mean, there was a couple weeks ago, love him. They said they got to cut Daniel Jones and give him like a Tommy the starting job. I mean, he has done everything, but the only issue about it, I mean, Tommy DeVito, he's like very solid, cheap quarterback. Look around for the league year is saying how the banging party, the means and all this stuff good about it. But I mean, if they got a drafting and a new quarterback, I mean, they should have drafted like a very solid, who has a great arm, great accomplishment. I mean, they could happen in those times if they could had this one. Because I know for a fact because they gotta go for a great option to go for anything. I mean, it's gonna manage how this is gonna roll because they're gonna rip through Johnson in the one season if they go away the country to set it up. But that being said, I mean, they're gonna draft it with between Michael Penix Jr. or Bonitz. I mean, they have it the both currently commissioners for the good arms. I mean, they have it to go for the situation because they're realistic to get covered. I mean, there's no brainer about it. I mean, if they're gonna look at that, because they're gonna say that between Keller Williams, Drake May, I mean, they're all going for the time with the pick. I mean, the guy had to go for it. I mean, do we have to take it as one for the tackles like for Shun, especially Bob Johnson just getting injected for the Sun? I mean, they're gonna have one like this one. I mean, the quarterback is one of those best prospects if there's no like no brain to fight. I mean, there's like the five options. You're gonna draft a quarterback, a wide receiver, offensive line. I mean, they go to the center to get a quarterback. I mean, this is like a good quarterback class between Caleb Williams. Also, there's Drake May, Michael Penix Jr., Bonitz, and Jen Daniels. I mean, the ball is supposedly good at developing quarterbacks. The time to letting him to the front this over to the own quarterback, the gentleman era needs to end. I mean, Jaden Daniels is quarterback in this draft, especially a coach like Dayball. Yeah, a coach like Dayball. I mean, it's possible to know he's really there at 5, depending on coach seeing the good seem like taking May instead. But it really saturates to take another online in the top 10 with a franchise authority quarterback like Daniels or May in the war. I mean, it's not going to be at like a free agency going to be done, but I can't imagine how they are. But if you're gonna trade it, I mean, let's assume for a let's assume for a minute. I mean, they just had try for the past few years. It's just simple and risky. The ball was robbed because they're supposedly good at developing quarterbacks, but it's time to let it him to Daniel Jones to let the front office pick their own quarterback. I mean, Daniel Jones has been injured too many times. He goes for the long-term solution, especially given the costs. I mean, they're gonna mouse on it because at the stands for now, it's unlikely to be able. But I mean, it's gonna happen between Drake May or Caleb Williams because they just scouted May pretty heavily and then May trading up with Arizona with the two-way. But I mean, they have it to go because the more looking at the class right here, it's get out the war for the trading the stacking. But the perfectness about it, I mean, the choose is gonna be between Drake May to go to the Giants because it's gonna need so many backward between a great arm and great consistency. I would definitely go for Drake May for the Giants because he had a great scheme on it.
Yeah, but I
I
feel I
think
hit
they
it on
did.
the name. Thank you
Yeah.
for that. Thank you for that. I
Okay.
feel I hit it on the name. Now that'll be another amazing fit. You know what I'm saying? As much as I think Caleb Williams probably gonna go to Washington, I think Washington somehow between now and the draft finds a way up there and they snatch Caleb Williams away from the Bears because I honestly think they might pursue with Justin Fields, but we see what happens with that. Now they could go with Marvin Harrison after Washington takes Caleb Williams, and that's just my thoughts on it. But that being said, I do think another team would come up and snatch Drake May before the Giants. If Giants do want to get Drake May, I just truly believe that we're not in the position at 6 to get him. The only way we can get him is to trade up. And me personally, I don't know if I'm in love with him that much to trade up. I am gonna do my diligence. I'm gonna go do my research. I'm gonna bring you guys more on all of these quarterbacks coming up, these upcoming draft. So stay
Yeah.
tuned on that. But me personally, right now, that's a quarterback I'll absolutely love. I'll absolutely love if he gets down to 6. I'll absolutely love him. And this is just a list I wanted to bring up too, because we do have a lot of great names up here, like Brock, like Joe, all these great offensive linemen that is gonna, we have that great wide receiver too in Malik LSU. A lot of great Kool-Aids on this list as well. This is not in particular order. This is just the rankings of Pro Football Focus. I do know that some of these edge rushes and some of these tackles are gonna go pretty high in the draft, along with some of these guards. And that being said, there's just so much great candidates out here, and we're gonna break them down fully in full detail. Not really probably film breakdowns, but I am gonna give my thought process on it. I'm gonna give my opinions on these guys. And this has just been a nice little preview on what's to come this great year. I know I got off to a slower start than I originally planned, but keep an eye out for February. Me and Raphael has a great show coming up. I might do a
Yeah.
Warzone stream later on tonight, later on today. So keep an eye out for that. But that being said, though, it's a really a pleasure having you on, Raphael. Thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure for having Lou on earlier. So make sure you guys go subscribe to G Nation. You know, his links down below, and make sure you guys go subscribe to Raphael. His links right here. So that being said, links down below. Thanks to everybody that watched. You're watching after the fact, man. Salute you. Thank you for subscribing for both of us. If you're watching from wherever's channel, really appreciate it. Whether it be Hardcore Sports, whether it be my channel, Deception showing up. Thank you so much for being here. Also, Meet the Mets. Thank you so much for being here as well.
Meet the
I'm gonna let
Mets.
Raphael say a few words before we get out of here. But yeah, keep an eye out. A lot of great things, a lot of mini documentaries. I am kind of
Yeah.
not saving my takes, but I'm gonna a little bit saving it for when I do launch those mini documentaries that are in the works. So keep an eye out for that. A lot of Giants news coming up this offseason. Raphael, you take the mic for a little bit. And you hype up what you need to hype
All
up, man.
right. So,
Find you out again and let's get it.
all all right, let's get it. So, my YouTube channel is right there, youtubechannel.com at El Capitan Rafucho. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at El Capitan Rafucho. Also on Twitter, as known as that, at Capitan Rafucho. And there's like a plenty stuff for you because right now I'm doing something like a play-by-play in Spanish and basketball games, baseball games during the Winter League. Also, I just wanted to provide everything about for like a rundown, like a round table before the NFL draft, so we can like break it down for the quarterbacks to wide receivers. I mean, who's gonna team we're gonna take it and everything because during the off season and of course the playoff season before the Super Bowl, I think we're gonna break it down for those players who wants to be like the first one to the 10 one. I mean, those college players that are the go for the break it down. Also, there's film study because right now I'm doing for the off season for us for the Raiders. I mean, we just sort of break it down for all these players during the positions, the quarterback, right receiver. I mean, even though that during the last days, I didn't provide any lesson because I was stuck in a winter storm at the East Coast, but I provided to do like in a more content in the next few days. But also, I guarantee this is gonna be like a really important because right now I'm growing up like very little because right now I had more than 800 subscribers, and of course, and I made more impact on it. So make sure to subscribe to my channel, Rafael Chasing, as well as El Capitan Rafucho. There's a lot of plenty content right here, not only for football, also there is a lot of sports on it. So thank you so much. And of course, thanks Ian to provide for all this opinion and all these things. And I appreciate about it. So have a good one, folks, and salute to everybody else, and let's get it.
Well said, Raphael. And keep in mind, guys, make sure you guys go sub up to G Nation that appeared early on the start of the show. Another Big Blue Crew member, absolutely fire takes. Make sure you guys go sub up to him as well. Thank you so much, Raphael. And let's get it one more time. I'm gonna just go and remind you guys. A lot of stuff planned this year. Not gonna be. I moved 3 times in the last year and a half, and a lot of other stuff happened personally, but I wasn't able to really commit to this YouTube things that am I gonna commit now that I am in 2024. The time spent is basically gonna be for you guys because you guys are loyal and you guys been supporting me the whole time, chat, and I really appreciate it, fam. You're watching this live, you're watching this after the fact. You guys are loyal as hell, and I really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm kind of holding a few things back that is going to be said in documentaries that I am making, mini documentaries, and a lot of great plans coming in 2024. That being said, this is the first of many live streams about this team. We got a podcast coming in February with my homie Raphael right here. Like we already said, Warzone, guys, come support Warzone streams. I'm gonna start streaming Warzone a lot, so make sure you guys come support, ask me questions. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk Giants, we'll talk football, we'll talk as we play. That's gonna be fun. Rank's gonna come up in a bit, so that's gonna be fun. And then Premium Take Fridays. You can't beat it. That being said, we'll catch you guys tomorrow, probably on Premium Takes, but we'll probably catch you guys later on tonight on a Warzone stream and in mini documentaries to come. That being said, Raphael, let's get it. Anything
All
else,
right, let's
Raphael,
get
before I
it.
end
Have a
this?
good one.
Let's get it.
All right.